All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? We're back. I got my guy Hoop with me like we do every Thursday. There's an MLB slate. Man, where's my head
I
at?
wish.
I wish it was MLB, but we got NBA on tap. We got NFL tonight. We got a massive NHL slate. We got PGA coming back. I know you guys talked about that. We're getting everything behind the scenes fired up for PGA that's coming, but we got the big three sports going on right now tonight, Hoop. We got you covered over here at The Nation. If you guys are not a member, head over to shipitnation.com right now and click on Join Now. You can get weekly package. One caveat, weekly, you don't get the best part of the membership. One of the best parts, I should say, not the best part, but one of them is the Discord community. If you do sign up for the monthly, the 6-month, or the annual package, obviously annual is your best bang for your buck once you do the math outright, but it is obviously upfront payment. You get all the access to all of our premium content, like you see Hoop, right? These are premium projections in our Solver Optimizer partner, which obviously is another add-on feature to our membership over there. But we got you covered for everything. And man, Hoop, the winners just continue to come no matter the sport, no matter the night in the Discord. Winners lighting up all over the place, shippers, as you see on our Twitter. But Hoop, I'll bring you in, man. You just got off the show. You're running around double duty, playing freaking mechanic over there, catching up some fixing up your little cars, right? You get all these cars are massively priced, and things like a roof leak, right? 700 miles on the car, and you got a roof leak. So tell the people a little bit about that, man. How's your Thursday going? What's going on, man?
Yeah, it's been a day. I had the brand new car, a couple months old, 700 miles, snowed a little bit on Monday, and then somehow the roof started leaking. So it's a new one. I took it to the dealership, and they're like, oh, wow, we've never seen this before. So I was dealing with that all day, back and forth all over the place. We did do the NFL show for the Showdown slate, the Saints and the Rams. That's posted, so make sure to get over to Mayo Media Network. Check that out. Tonight, NBA, 6-game slate. A lot of solid plays. I mean, some pretty big injuries. We have the Utah situation where they're down a bunch of guys. You have the Donovan Mitchell situation where they're down or where he's out, which is presenting some solid value around the industry. So we'll touch on it all, hit all the games. But, yeah, busy night. I know NHL has a full slate as well, so we got you covered for all those sports. Get on over to shipitnation.com and check it all out.
Yeah, absolutely. We got you covered for everything. Should be a nice little 6-game slate here tonight for NBA. Still money to be made in the NBA streets, right? A little frustrating that in the NFL streets, where I did post that breakdown right there. If you click that link, it'll take you to the Mayo Media Network. You can throw that on 1.5x, get in and out of there in about 35 minutes or so, and catch all those winners. But they dropped it down, Hoop, to 300K, man. Maybe they're sick of seeing D dry up at the top of the leaderboards, right? Chopping up that money. So had to lower it down a little bit. Christmas time is coming, but nonetheless, we got money to be made here. Let's jump right in, Hoop, as you got Utah and Detroit up on the screen right now. And like you mentioned, right, a lot of ownership is going to go to this game with all the guys out for Utah there. I mean, you got guys like Lukas Samanic, right? Chris Dunn popping a little bit, Colin Sexton, Kessler, Agbaji, right? But a lot of ownership actually going on the other side. I do think this game stays more competitive, right, with the injuries. 236 is the total, just a 1-point spread, which you don't see very much for your lovely Detroit Pistons there in a 1-point spread basketball game here. But very, very interesting game to kick us off. Obviously, Bojan Bogdanovic, right, seems to be the chalk in this game. So break it down. I think there's a lot of good plays here in this one.
Yeah, it's still funny because the last we went to the opening night for the Pistons. It was October 28th. It was my wife's birthday. The whole family went down, checked out the game. That was their last win. So it's kind of like an ongoing joke within the family because the wife's like, have they won yet? I was like, no, they've lost another. Now we're up to 24. I actually think this is the spot. I mean, I think they actually play well and get the win. If you're betting on stuff, if you're betting on the NBA, I like the Pistons to finally win tonight. Utah coming off back-to-back. For fantasy purposes, though, yeah, a lot of Utah guys are clearly in play here. Colin Sexton, 7,700, point guard, shooting guard eligible, great play. Chris Dunn, 5,800, should play a lot here. The nice thing about him, point guard and small forward eligible, so you can use him in a bunch of different spots tonight, the guard spot, forward spot, utility, along with point guard and small forward, makes it nice for roster construction. You talked about Bojan. I think he's a solid option at 67. Definitely want some Cade. Like if you're playing a lot of these Jazz guys, if you're multi-entering, give me some Cade Cunningham in a game where, I mean, they should at least be competitive. He's coming off a monster game where he put up, 67 fantasy points. Jaden Ivey you can keep in the mix. I think there's just a lot of plays in this game. But, the one thing for me that definitely stands out, if you're playing a lot of these Utah guys, which they're going to be pretty popular, I want some Pistons guys in my pool as well tonight. And it's one of the better spots for the Pistons in a while. Like they've been getting their ass kicked, obviously. And I'd be shocked if this one wasn't somewhat competitive. And Ross asked, are you going to the game? I thought about it. My brother-in-law is in town. He wanted to go, but just could not take myself down there to watch a team that has lost 24 in a row.
24 in a row. It could be 25 here, but hey,
yeah,
if they win, it's definitely on the back of our guy, Cade Cunningham. I'm with you there. I really like Cade Cunningham in this spot. Nut matchup for Cade Cunningham and nut matchup on the other side of the ball, right? Chris Dunn. I really like the ping pong there, 5,800, 8,600. You could see both of these guys explode here in this spot. Our guy Newens is too sharp. You click that old box log there for Chris Dunn, and man, it's pretty gross overall. But you can't be results oriented, right? In daily fantasy sports, that's why it's daily fantasy here. It's a matchup standpoint for me. Chris Dunn should be thumped into more minutes. We got a really healthy projection on him. We got him projected for a good amount of minutes here. In a good matchup, I like the ping pong with Cade Cunningham, Chris Dunn in this spot here. Bojan is, I think, a fine play, but I think I'd rather just get up to a lower owned Cade Cunningham, right? And if Bojan doesn't get there, right, if Bojan doesn't get there, right, Hoop, it's likely because Cade Cunningham is doing what he did last game, right? Absolutely going absurd. You kind of saw that, right? Bojan played 39 minutes last game, scored 32 fantasy points with scoring 25 real life points. Obviously, you saw Cade Cunningham, right, play the 44 minutes and drop 67. That's likely, right, because Cade's kind of doing all the work. He's picking up those peripherals, those assists. He's scoring the ball, the basketball. So I do like that pivot there. If you can't obviously get all the way up, I think Bojan is fine. Jaden Ivey's got a good matchup here too at 5,600. So I actually think I preferred Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey over Bojan here for the ownership discount. You get a salary savings off of Bojan for Jaden Ivey. Obviously, you can throw Cade Cunningham in that shooting guard position, which is definitely nice on DraftKings right now. Jaden Ivey goes in the point guard. You can run it back at the small forward, right? Play that same forward. Play Chris Dunn over Bojan at the small forward position. Get a nice little three-man stack here. This game's expected to stay close. Should be competitive, back and forth, up and down game. So I really like those three plays quite a bit. There's some other plays. Obviously, you can play guys like Walker Kessler. It's just, man, it's a struggle for me with Walker Kessler because you just see the minutes, right? There's no certainty to the minutes. 31, 23, 26, 18, 32, 30, right? He's played 30 in back-to-back games, but man, the minutes just are not there sometimes. And at 6,600, you know the upside he has. It is a fair matchup here against Detroit, but pretty much everyone's a good matchup against Detroit. So give me Chris Dunn, give me Cade Cunningham, give me Jaden Ivey. There's other plays you can go to, but those are my three favorites for sure in this game.
Yeah, we're kind of in lockstep. And just real quick, our boy Danny Blovey, what's up, fam? I sucked ass last night. Make sure you use some mouthwash, man. Get that shit cleaned out.
Yeah, get some mouthwash, man. Maybe maybe you should rethink it a little bit, or who knows what's going on. But hey, good news. It's daily fantasy for a reason. There's multiple sports obviously going on tonight. Hopefully you're not eating any more ass tonight, and hopefully you're at the top. Hopefully you're at the top of the leaderboards, getting a nice little Christmas bonus here from the SHIPIT Nation crew. So good luck tonight, man. We'll try and give you the winners here. Let's jump into the next game here. We got Cleveland, the Pelicans. 2-point spread, another close spread here. 229 is the total. In terms of questionable tags right now, it looks like, right, Herb Jones, Jovel, Zion, and Cody Zeller, all questionable right now, all from the Pelican side. Obviously, if those guys miss, right, there's going to be, if a couple of them miss, especially guys like Zion and Jovel, right, two good usage guys that play a lot of minutes. Other guys are going to open up for other minutes, and use is going to open up for guys like Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. If Herb Jones misses, you could see like guys like Trey Murphy, Najee Marshall get a little boost. But overall, I think this is a better real life basketball game than a DFS game. Personally, I don't see a ton of plays here, especially with the news. We should get this news and things will change. But if all these guys play, I just really don't like this game a ton. Can't play every spot. But do you see something I'm missing here?
Well, on the Pelican side, yeah, it's obviously 100% dependent on the news. Like if all these guys are in, tough to play them. I mean, I'd potentially take a look at Zion at 76, Jovel maybe 72, but not jumping off the page. Now, if some of them sit, if Zion and Jovel are out, then Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum immediately become good plays. You guys see what's going on with Herb Jones. Trey Murphy could enter the conversation. We could end up looking at a lot of these Pelicans guys, but this is 100% dependent on the news. What is it, 7:30 Eastern start time, so we should have the news at lock. Now, on the Cavs side, without Donovan Mitchell, definitely fine going right back to Craig Porter Jr., Sam Merrill, Jared Allen, better priced on FanDuel. He's 7,100, I believe, over there on FanDuel. I think all three of those guys are solid options and guys I'll be playing a lot of. But on the Pelican side, it's 100% dependent on the news. Got 7:30 Eastern, like I said, so 30 minutes after lock. So we should have all the information here, but there's really nothing you can do now without the news.
Yeah, the news is going to be important, right? Because three of those projected starters, right, are questionable. Herb Jones, Zion, and Jovel, right? Zeller doesn't mean too much, but if Jovel's out, Zeller would mean something, right? The backup center there, so you would you'd see a very interesting, right, what that lineup would look like. So we got to wait for news for the Pelican side. On the Cleveland side, I'm with you with Craig Porter. He's my favorite play. Projected to start at point guard again here. I'm seeing really low ownership right now. I don't know if that is going to stand true. Right, 4,700.
No chance. Yeah, we need an update on that because those numbers are not accurate.
Yeah, there's no way because he's going to be projected to play 25 to 30 minutes at sub 5K here in a tight spread game with no D-Mitch. Those ownerships on Sam Merrill and Craig Porter are definitely going to be increased. I like both of them. Yeah. Sam Merrill's been balling, right? Last two games, even last game against Utah, right? A little bit tougher matchup. Game before that at Houston, 35 and 38 in back-to-back games. He's shooting well from the floor right now. If he puts 30 minutes again, I like both of those two value plays a lot. Pelican side, hard to break down right now without the news. Let's jump into the next game here. Again, if you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I dropped the link in the chat again for the NFL Showdown breakdown. Pretty nice game. Obviously, the masses, Hoop included, right, seem to be slobbering all over these Rams. So interesting takes that the boys broke down. Title and Hoop and Tambo were on there over on the Mayo Media Network. So I did drop the link because it is not on this channel. It's on our partnership with Mayo Media Network. Obviously, our NFL shows, a lot of them go over there along with the NBA show. So head over there, check that out after the show. But Hoop, Indy, Memphis, this game, pretty interesting one here. 247, massive total, close spread, pace up spot here, big time for Memphis. Obviously, with the pace that Indy plays at. A lot of ownership coming in this game, right? With guys like Vince Williams Jr., right, at 5,200. He's been crushing for what his price is. You got John Morant picking up a lot of ownership here. Interesting note, though, on the other side, right? People don't really want to spend up for the Pacers side, right? Guys like Tyrese Halliburton coming in sub 5% projected right now at 10.8. Obviously, he hasn't been posting his 60 burgers. He's been slumping, for so to speak, right, for Halliburton since back early December. Touch on this one. I think it's an interesting game. Obviously, the ownership right now focused around the Memphis side, but if Memphis is going to get there, someone's got to come along most of the time on Indy. So where are you going?
Yeah, that's the tough part, finding guys on the Indy side that you want to play here. And obviously, Halliburton makes a lot of sense. Like if you're looking for someone on the Pacers side to play, but it's a tough price tag, 10-8. And, let's just to see if you play Halliburton and Morant, who look phenomenal, you're already down to $5K per spot. So you're just all value from there on out. I don't hate that. I wouldn't mind finding some teams like that, like a Halliburton Morant team, maybe hit on a couple of those Cavs values, find one more value. And, you could be good to go, because I could see a back and forth between Halliburton and Morant, but Morant's price at 9,500 in this matchup is just way too low. I mean, coming off 57 fantasy points, he looked very solid in his return. I don't think the price is going to remain at this 9,500 price tag the way these NBA games are playing out this season, with the high scoring and the high pace and all that. So, John Morant, for sure, phenomenal play on the slate. If you can get to Halliburton, great play. Williams Jr., like you talked about, 5,200, kind of playing a lot of minutes, 35, 23, 30, 28, 26. And he's been producing as well, providing a nice floor there. So I think he's a play. And then, two guys to maybe consider, but it is tough to pay these price tags. Desmond Bane at 85, and then Jaren Jackson Jr. at 79. If choosing between the two, I'd probably go with Jaren Jackson, but it is tough to get to those price tags. When you look up and you see Halliburton there and you see Morant, you probably want those pieces over the Bane and Jaren Jackson piece. So definitely want Morant. I want to find a way to get some Halliburton. We're showing 1.5. I imagine that's, it's going to be higher than that. And then Williams Jr., I think, is a good play at 5,200.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you a little bit here. Vince Williams, I think, is a fine play. My favorite play is actually Jaren Jackson Jr. I think he smashes here. I do like that John Morant's back. It helps open the floor up a little bit for guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. He can get those rebounds, right? He can get fed those points, those assists from John Morant. It's an absolutely nut matchup here. I think Jaren Jackson smashes in this spot. And I think people are hesitant to go to a guy like Jaren Jackson. Obviously, always got the foul concerns. But when John Morant's back in the mix, right, you can argue that these guys, they're priced up a little, right? Desmond Bane, I think, is priced up more than what Jaren Jackson is, because obviously he takes more of a hit with John Morant back. But I really like Jaren Jackson a ton here. He's my favorite play from this game. On the Pacers side, you can always go to a low-owned guy, right, like Tyrese Halliburton, who has shown 70-point upside on the season. His price is starting to come down because obviously his production has not been there. He's going to get you 28 to 30 minutes. 28 to 31 is kind of what he's been playing. He got it going a little bit last game, Hoop, right? You saw before that, right, against the Clippers, tough matchup, shot 3 for 12, 7 or 17, 5 for 12, 8 of 14. Last game, he went 3 from 9 for 3, 6 for 14, got some assists, right, picked up the double-double. He's getting it going a little bit. And a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, right, after slumping for a while, maybe it's coming around, right? Coming Christmas time, little young blood kid, right? Maybe Santa Halliburton's coming to town, Hoop. So I like a little low-owned Halliburton here. And I really like Jaren Jackson here. I don't know if I can get all the way up to John Morant. I think if I'm spending all the way up, the ownership's there. I think I'd rather just spend up at a lower-owned contrarian guard like a Cade Cunningham that's a little bit cheaper, right? $900 cheaper than that in another great game environment. So I do like that. So Jaren Jackson, low-owned Halliburton for me in this game. Not too much else. I think Bruce Brown would be a fine play at 6,100. I'm seeing him getting ownership here, and man, I'm just not a Bruce Brown guy with all these guys back. It's just so hard, right? Halliburton just does so much from a point guard. He's a true point guard, right? He can score. He can dish the rock out. It's just hard for me to get to $6,100 Bruce Brown, so I'm out on that. Let's jump into the next game here. Clippers, OKC. In this one, looking at the news, right? Let me just pull it up. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard are questionable in this one. In terms of the total, right? 236, right? 5-point spread. OKC, 4-point spread, excuse me. OKC favored by 4 here. In terms of ownership, you got freaking Isaiah Joe again, right up at the top at 4,100 because he's been getting minutes. He saw 27 and 19 minutes in back-to-back games. I was on last show, I think, talking about Isaiah Joe expected to get ownership, and I just can't click a chalky Isaiah Joe. Now, if that stands true, I'm not exactly sure, right? It's 3:20 in the afternoon. There's a lot of news to hit. Ownership's going to change. But right now, Isaiah Joe, SGA getting ownership, Chet Holmgren, all the ownership in this game is going to the OKC side. Nobody's going to really the Clipper side. And our guy, right, James Harden's been absolutely going incredible, like going off lately. Can you get to a guy like James Harden and then talk about OKC side?
Yeah, James Harden certainly in play tonight. And, all it would take is George or Leonard to sit, and he becomes an even better play. If somehow both of them sit, like he's in a phenomenal spot at 9,300. We're showing low ownership, but that will come up a little bit. But we need the news here. I think it might be okay playing him regardless in some GPPs, but he becomes a much better play if one or two of these two sit, Leonard or George, and then it would open up other things. Obviously, on the Clippers side, Zubac would get a little bit of a boost. Maybe a guy like Norman Powell potentially. So we need this news. This is the hour after lock, so probably 50-50 whether or not we have the news. But yeah, like you said, a lot of the ownership is going to the OKC side, SGA, Holmgren, Jalen Williams to some extent, and then Giddey is not playing a ton of minutes, but man, he's making a lot of the minutes that he gets on the court. He's only 6,100, so it's a lot of different plays here. Isaiah Joe, like you said, again, one of those situations. If you're playing a lot of OKC, definitely try to force in some of these Clippers guys because you want this competitive game. James Harden would be the very, very clear option if one or two of Leonard and George were to sit tonight.
Yeah, exactly. That great breakdown there. I think my favorite OKC piece by far here is Chet Holmgren. He's been smashing. He's 7,400. I'm seeing him the lowest owned right now between him and SGA. I can't personally click Giddey, but I get it, right? It's just, man, you're kind of you're trying to strike lightning in a bottle with when he's out there. I mean, he's not going to play over 30 minutes. He could play 15 to 20 minutes, right? If he gets you 24 to his 29, which has been in his realm over the last week, he could get there. But at 6,100, man, that's just not a chance I want to take here. I think I'd rather just get to a guy like Chet Holmgren here, who at 7,400, right? I mean, he's been smashing that price point the last two games for sure. If he gets you 30 to 32 minutes here in this matchup, I think he can crush against the Clips and Zubac here. So I really like that. Obviously, he's a huge fantasy point per minute guy. It's not the greatest matchup against Zubac, but I mean, he's a 1.3 fantasy point per minute dude. So I do like Chet Holmgren quite a bit. Out on Isaiah Joe, SGA is always in consideration anytime he's on the slate, right? He's got 70-point upside. He's 10-2, but you got to put him in contention with guys like Halliburton, guys a little bit cheaper like Cade Cunningham we already talked about, right? You got the value Cleveland guards. So you can only play so many guards in the slate, but gotta always talk about SGA when he's on the slate. Clipper side, fully contingent on Kawhi and Paul George. If both of them play, I think it's hard to play one of those three. They just eat into each other a lot. I think if anyone plays anyone from that Clip side, I think it is going to be James Harden just because how he's been playing lately. I think James Harden becomes an amazing play, like you said, right? If Paul George or Kawhi, one of them miss, if both of them miss, you're going to be going to a lot of these Clippers, right? These guys like Russell Westbrook, I hate to say it, but he would obviously come into play if those guys are off. Terrence Mann, you'll have a lot of value guys open up. Should get that news before that Indy Memphis game, right? That huge total game does tip off, which will be key as well. Let's jump into another game here, the Spurs and Chicago. In terms of injury news in this one, Keldon Johnson is probable. Victor Wembanyama is probable as well. Now, Devin Vassell remains questionable. So Devin Vassell, pretty much the only guy that's really questionable in this game from a total standpoint. Where is this one? San Antonio, Chicago, 229, 5-point spread for Chicago here. Where are you going in this one? I've seen some ownership going to guys like Sochan, Vucevic, Kobe White, who's been playing great this season. But man, 8,300. I remember playing Kobe White, right? At what, 4K last year,
yes.
5K last year. Man, it's crazy to see him up to 8,300 with obviously no Levine, right? Kobe White's taking a huge role there. But man, these prices are pretty gross on some of these bulls. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, it's tough price points. Wembanyama, yeah, sure, 9K, don't hate that. Forward and center eligible. Vooch has been playing pretty solid, creating himself a nice floor, but he's at the center position, and it makes it a little tough. DeMar DeRozan is one guy that stands out on FanDuel. The price on FanDuel is very cheap. He is, what is it? like 81 at small forward. It kind of is a more difficult position over there. I think he's a fine play over there on FanDuel. So Chan, he is getting ownership because of the price. Like there's just not a ton of value. 5,600. You don't need to sacrifice a bunch to get him in there. 56 makes a lot work. So that's kind of why he's getting ownership. Fine keeping him in the player pool. Like not much interest in like Keldon Johnson at that price point. Kobe White, I can't pay the 8-3. I know he's been playing well. It's really Wembanyama, Vooch I'm good with, DeRozan on FanDuel, SoCan. That's kind of where I'm at in this one.
Yeah, I think my favorite play of the night here is in this game, and it's 9K for Wemby here. I think 60 points is coming for Wemby tonight. I think he nukes these Bulls. I'm seeing decent, pretty low ownership on him. I mean, he's got 60-plus point upside at 9K. You just don't see that too much, especially with a guy like Wemby here who can do it all, right? Picks up blocks, assists, rebounds. I mean, he's a double-double machine, right? I mean, you got to scroll back pretty far to see not a double-double, right? There's one game on this game log, right? Back on November 24th that he didn't pick up a double-double. He's picked up a double-double in every game since November 22nd that I'm looking at. So really like Wemby at 9K flat in this spot. He's one of my favorite plays on the entire slate. Not seeing a ton of ownership, so that makes it even better for me. Kobe White does have a good matchup, but man, 8,300 for a guy like Kobe White is just tough for me.
Yeah,
he's been crushing. He's going to play 35 to 40 minutes, so the minutes are there. I guess. I mean, if you wanted to, it's just that's a tough price point to play for me. I mean, you compare him to a guy like Cade Cunningham in that first game, right? I'd much rather play $300 more and go to Cade Cunningham. Personally for myself. So it's pretty much Wemby or pass for me in this game. Sochan, I guess, right? He kind of fits that mid-tier build, but man, even with him, you just don't know what you're getting. I mean, if he plays over 30 minutes, he could get you there like he did last game against the Bucks, but the Bucks don't defend the guards again, right? So this is a little bit different spot. It's Wemby or pass for me in this one, and Wemby is one of my favorite plays of the night. Really like him a ton. Let's jump into the last game here at 7. Again, if you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. I'll post the NFL breakdown one more time. Again, Hoop just got off that show with Tambo and Tito. They broke down tonight's slate. We've been crushing the NFL showdown streets for these games. A lot of close calls. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but Hoop, when you brought up the little Jalen Hurts, right, that bogus, DeAndre Swift slips at the freaking one, and here comes Hurts to jam it in to make all the Hurts captain
like
donkeys
20 times this season.
It's so annoying because I had the nut. I literally had the nut non-Hurts captain team.
How does it always happen though? Like, how does it literally happen every single time? Like
every single time. I was texting Tambo, me and Tambo. I sent him the lineup, and he's like, "Dude, all the Hurts donkeys get there again." Swift slips at the 3, right? Goes down at the 1, and here comes the tush push. I mean, it was just frustrating, especially when you have the second best lineup. That's a non-Hurts captain. That's significantly less duped than the winners. But overall, what are you going to do? But you guys did break that down well. Obviously, big prize pools in NFL like there is every night. Let's talk about this one, man. Orlando and Milwaukee here. Milwaukee at home. In terms of news in this one, let me just pull it up real quick. Giannis is probable. Ingles and Jalen Suggs on the Orlando side are questionable. Our guy Tito is going to be in attendance here. Maybe I'll drive make a little get on the road right after the show, Hoop, and go join him in.
How far are you? How far?
It's about an hour and 40 minutes from me to the stadium, so it's not too bad to Pfizer up there. But our guy Tito is going to be in attendance. In terms of this game right now, obviously got Giannis, always a consideration for a spend up stud. Dame has been nuking, right? If I recall, Dame, I saw the highlights. Yeah. He went nuts the other night. We got Banchero, who's really taken a big leap this year. Franz Wagner, but man, the pricing, I don't see a lot of misprices, and that's what we like in NBA DFS. Wendell Carter, I guess, at 5,400. I'm seeing a little ownership going his way. Bobby Portis at 5,500, just because, right, that mid-tier build, Hoop, you talked about. There's not a lot of great values outside of the Cleveland pieces. Where are you going in this one, last game of the slate?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Giannis, you can always play. I mean, no doubt about it. Looks like his ownership is going to be in check, easy to get overweight. Definitely some Giannis. Lillard at 9,100, been playing well. He's flashed some upside. After that, it gets pretty iffy on the Orlando side. Yeah, my favorite play would be Wendell Carter Jr. 5,400. I'm not super interested in Banchero at 82. Chris Middleton at 66. I mean, maybe, but the ceiling is certainly capped with the minutes. Our projections obviously like Giannis and Lillard. They're the two clear plays. Nothing else really stands out. I just don't want a lot of this game. I think it's probably the least appealing game on the slate. Like Detroit, Utah, we have plays from both sides. Cleveland, a lot of plays. Pelicans, if those guys sit, we have plays. We like the Indy Memphis game. This one just not all that appealing. So I'll be way underweight on this one.
Yeah, it's just a prime example, right? Totals don't always mean anything, right? This is the second highest total on the slate, 238, 8.5 point spread. Obviously, Milwaukee favored at home here. But again, there's not a ton of injury news. Injury news means more for me in terms of DFS for daily fantasy for NBA than Vegas totals do. Obviously, totals do account for some of that stuff, but really not that intrigued with this game overall. Like you said, maybe Chris Middleton in the mid-tier at 6,600. He's got a good matchup against Orlando. Wendell Carter, maybe. I think I just prefer other spots. I don't think I can get all the way up to Giannis here with Dame in there. Middleton's in there. You still got Lopez, Bobby Portis. You got Malik Beasley taking some usage. So for me, I think this is a better light. Hopefully the Bucks just keep it rolling here and kind of walk Orlando out of the Pfizer here. And this game doesn't go off too much for fantasy purposes. Hope you want to give a play of the day before we get out of here for the people. We'll be a little generous, right? Christmas is coming, a little Santa hoop.
Sorry, on mute, but the play of the day is going back all the way to the first game. A lot of guys are going to be on Utah. There's no doubt about it. My play of the day is going to be a guy that we both liked, and I think we both like quite a bit, Mr. Cade Cunningham. I think he gets the job done fantasy-wise, and I think the Pistons, despite a 24-game losing streak, find a way to get the win tonight.
All right, Cade Cunningham. Look at that. I'm going to go right to the guy that I said I have a 60 spot built in coming. Victor Wembanyama here. He is questionable. He's probable to play. I think he dusts these Chicago Bulls tonight here. I think if the Spurs keep this close and win the game outright, it's definitely on the back of Wemby. So I really like Wemby a ton here. Hit on a couple things in the chat here. Josh, Anthony, if Suggs sits, I think Anthony gets a slight boost here. But again, I'm just not super intrigued. It is a decent matchup, right? Guards against Milwaukee is a pretty good spot overall. So I think that's fine. But let me just look at his price real quick. Let me just see. So Cole Anthony, 6,200. I mean, his price is up there, right? And his minutes aren't – a lot of times when Suggs is out, Cole still comes off the bench, right? Because you still got Franz in that starting lineup. You got Banchero that command a bunch of usage. So I think he'd be fine. I don't know, man. It's a pretty gross click. It's a pretty gross click at that price point. And then Chunky Blue, Portis for last spot. Yeah, I think Portis is fine at that price point. Yeah. 5,500. You know, Portis, he's obviously heavily involved in this offense, especially with that second unit. So I think those are both fine last plays.
Yeah. Valuable price point.
Yeah, it's just a price point for me, right? 5.5 makes some things work overall. So I do think that's fine. That's going to do it, though. Hoop, any final closing remarks for the people before we get on out of here?
Yeah, in terms of this, like the Pelican stuff, I think is definitely most important. We got to see whether those guys, Zion and Valanciunas in out could, definitely shift us to some more Pelicans guys. Obviously, 6-game slate. We got the NFL slate. We have the NHL slate, content projections for all those slates that I just mentioned. The NFL has Saturday games, Sunday games, and a 3-game Christmas Day slate. So there is a lot of fun this weekend. Looking forward to seeing those Ship It Nation logos at the top of the leaderboard. Let's have ourselves a big week starting tonight.
Yeah, big week indeed. And Hoop, I just threw our little 2 plays of the day in our little optimizer partner here in the solver. Made a couple tweaks, and man, you can build some pretty nice teams pairing those two together. So hopefully people take that to the bank, and hopefully we see those Ship It Nation logos at the top. But appreciate y'all watching. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the way out. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, so Hoop and Tambo can give away a membership, annual membership on Saturday for that live show breaking down, I believe, the Christmas Eve slate, the full slate, or yeah. So go ahead and hit that subscribe. Get your grannies, get your kids, get your wives, your daughters, everything to hit that subscribe button so you guys can have a chance at annual membership over here to the Nation. But for Hoop, I'm Nades. Good luck tonight. Hope to see those Ship It Nation logos at the top. Let's ship it.